Hey friends, so today we're going to do a review of my Phanteks P300 case. I think this is a new P300 model for them for 2018. I purchased the case off of Newegg. It was about 60 bucks with free shipping. So for this style of case, where you have room for like liquid cooling and like there's a separate area for a low PSU in a separate container. These types of cases, they tend to be a little bit more expensive than 60 bucks. So when I saw it go on sale, or when I saw it on Newegg, I was like, yeah, that's there's no brainer. My personal budget for the case was probably a little bit less. I would have loved to have spent $45 on the case, but when you're going for quality and you also want to stay within a budget, sometimes you have to make concessions. So I was willing to stretch up to 60 bucks, knowing that I'm probably going to get a more premium case. Now, I've never purchased a Phanteks case before, and in all honesty, last time I built a computer was 2009, 2008. So at that time, I remember that Antec was the case to have. You know, Antec cases were pretty sweet, and they were known for their quality. So when I decided to go ahead and do a new build, I was looking around and I was like, okay, Cooler Master is still a pretty recognized brand. Antec has kind of fallen off. So who's replaced them? And it seems to me that Phanteks has replaced them in terms of the quality versus value proposition, and so I'm pretty happy with that. And you can see that I'm pretty happy with the case overall. As of right now, I don't have too many gripes with it. Maybe when I'm going through it, I'll point out something that I think is annoying. But you know, they made it a very good case, and there's not too much to complain about. I think cases are coming to the point now where as long as you spend over $60 or $60 and above, you're gonna buy a quality case. It's a matter of style, you know. So this case for me, it's pretty sleek, and I'm not a big fan of the gamer look, like a ton of LEDs, and I don't know, like just a lot of angles and logos, and so the reason why I hadn't built a PC in a while is because I've been using my MacBook for college and graduate school. So there was really no need to build a PC. And the Mac has like a more sleek, sturdy look compared to PCs, obviously. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's where my design is, and also I'm close to 30, so I don't want to have to like, especially say for example I wanted to put this the case right now is in my living room. So if I have people or friends over and they see that case, it kind of looks like it's part of the room, opposed to like a toy that like I put in the room just to whatever, you know, forever, whatever reason. So let's jump into this case here. So as you can see, the case is pretty subtle in my apartment. You know, it fits the vibe a little bit. It's sleek, subtle. It doesn't look like it's out of place. It doesn't look like it has a million lights going on. It fits the decor quite well. So let's check it out. And as you can see, I don't even have the glass panel facing outwards, because I'm not really looking for that style as of right now. But it fits pretty well. It's a good size, and I'll kind of show you like proportions in relation to other things so you can kind of see. But it's, I would say, about maybe like a little bit over, just about 2 feet tall, about 10 inches wide, maybe a little bit less, 8 inches wide, and another 18 inches in depth. And let's jump into it. Okay, so as you can see here, it's pretty easy to use, and I'm just going to remove these cables. It doesn't add any extra obstacles to portability. It doesn't have a handle either, which is something I had in previous cases. You know what? But there's no need for a handle because this thing is so light and compact that you could just put it under your arm, which I'm going to do right now. Okay, so here's the case. This is how it looks. This is kind of a 360. And I don't know, I'm actually a pretty big dude. I'm 6 foot, like 250, so in relation to me, this case might look a little bit smaller than in relation to the average person. Something I really like about the outside is that this glass is, this panel is glass, and you can tell it's glass. It's clearly not plexiglass. You don't have to touch it to know it, which I've had a plexiglass window before, and it's just not pretty. It scratches easily, and when it does it, it doesn't have a very clear index, which is like how clear the panel is. You can see the panel. On this one, you can look directly into it, even if there's fingerprints on here. It's pretty solid. Outside of that, the back is pretty standard. I like the alternating pattern of the black and white here, and I like that these have some good vents in here, so for insulation. Now, this is, I honestly don't know what this is called when the power supply is on the bottom, but essentially what's happening here is that it's sucking in air or blowing in air in these two ports here, and the bottom has a filter, which is like super easy to take out in and out. You can clean this fairly easily. Let's see what side the dust is on. Yeah, so the dust is on the bottom. So it's sucking in air through here and blowing it out this way, and it's not allowing the power supply's heat to really dissipate into the case, which is obviously a huge benefit. And then, as I told you before, that this power supply area is cut off from circulation for most of the other case, which is cool. Honestly, I don't know the benefit of it, but you could tell that the heat from the power supply was not dissipating to the CPU, which is what would be the case if it was a top-mounted power supply. So I really like this whole power supply setup here. Now, if you look at the top, you can see that we have like a regular I/O port for USB, as well as some audio cables. Pretty standard. I like this RGB button here. Now you see this button. Every time you hit it, you get a new color on the case, and the case has RGB compatibility. To be honest, I've never used the technology before, but it seems pretty sweet. Once it becomes more reasonably priced, maybe I'll give it a shot. So this is the kicker here. I love these magnetic filters, man. So smart, so convenient. I don't have a fan behind here yet, but when I do, and I will, just because there's like, the thing with cases is, like, okay, like the capacity of this case is 4 fans. I want to see it with 4 fans. I don't want to just put 2 fans in there and I know 2 fans is more than enough. 220 millimeter fans is like, that's more than enough. But I want to see 4. So I think I'm going to buy 4 fans and put it in there. Maybe we'll do a review how it sounds compared to like just 1 80 millimeter fan versus 420 millimeter fans. And I don't know if you noticed that I am not using a 120 millimeter fan back here. This is an 80. And so what's cool about this pattern of grill is that I was able to fit a not standardized size for this case fan here. It's an 80 millimeter. I just put it through these holes, and you'll see on the inside how it looks kind of too. I ran into a unique obstacle when building this PC, that standard 3-pin fans don't plug into the motherboard, because I'm using a Dell motherboard out of a Dell CPU. You can look at my video. I actually made a video how I transplanted the Dell's computer into this case, link below. So I didn't end up using the fan that came with it, but it came with a 120 millimeter Phanteks fan, which I've heard mixed reviews on in different cases, but I'm sure it's the same standard fan they use in everything. So let's start tearing. Actually, let me show you the front. So the front is kind of this angled piece. You see how there's like a dip here, and then there's a vent up here. There's actually a filter underneath here. And then the same thing here, there's a dip. There's another vent down here, and there's a filter behind it. This front piece is really just like, it's really streamlined, but it has a nice design to it. It's not just a flat panel they stuck on the front of a case. It has like a dome hexagonal overall shape, and it's made out of metal. And let's talk about this. So obviously cases are made out of metal, right? But what kind of metal? And honestly, I'm not sure exactly what kind of metal this one's made out of, but you'll see here as I take off, and these are just thumb screws. And the cool thing about these thumb screws is that they don't fall out of the back panel. It's only the back panel, by the way. So they just kind of sit there, and so you don't lose them. But let's talk about this panel, right? This back panel. Man, this is freaking sturdy, super sturdy. Like if I try to warp it, there's not much warp to it, and I'm not being gentle with it. Obviously, it's got some play, but man, this is a solid sheet of pressed steel. I doubt it's aluminum. It doesn't sound or feel or weigh like aluminum. This is a heavy piece, and the whole case is made out of this material. Like they did not skim. They did not use a slightly thinner material for the inside of the case, which is, as you know, people who used to build back in the pre-2010, the outside of the cases, they could end up being like pretty thick, but you get to the inside and the drive bay area where you put the drives and just the back plate for the motherboard, that was thin metal. That was looked like just a regular aluminum sheet. So that's not the case in here, and that's why I think the Phanteks cases were so popular back in the day, because they made the effort to make the inside of the case just as sturdy as the outside of the case. So love this piece, and when I took this piece off, I knew that the case was solid. I didn't have to go through it. I knew the case was solid. I knew I made a good purchase, and I was blown away that you could buy a case like this for $60 when obviously this, back when I was younger, would be $200-300. Like no, without any doubt, $200-300 minimum. If you could find a case so well built. So that's some history lesson for you. So let's jump into the back. So you have two areas to put an SSD. Super simple. I honestly like this case is what the definition of modular. There's only one only one holder for the 2.5s, but if you're running dual 2.5s, you probably have the money for another holder. I wish they included two though. You know, honestly, that is my biggest complaint with this case, which is like, obviously you can see I don't have too many. But I mean, come on, if I want to put a second 2.5, I gotta buy this. And I don't even know if this is proprietary for Phanteks or not. Like, I don't know if I can just buy this off the shelf. I doubt you could. But it's mounted in a great location, and as you can see, when the hard drive, when you put it in, it's not just, oh, I can use a finger to push it down. Like I can't really get it into place. You get a whole hand, and it gives you a nice noise. So you can know that this 2.5 is secure. It's not moving unless you want it to move. There's these rubber screws, so the metal like pops down onto it at 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have the bread and butter of the cable management system. There's 2 Velcro straps. They're very sturdy. I don't see them losing their strength in the time I own this computer. And even still, like, I could probably just pull out any dust or hair out of there and they'll be brand new. But they're able to tie the cables down with enough force that you don't have to worry about the cables coming loose, basically ever. And just on top of that, I also put some zip ties to make it a little bit cleaner back here. But what's cool is, even though the cable management system kind of runs in this area, you can throw wires through any of these holes here, especially going down this way or up here, which I will do for a fan controller. So there's great access to the other side of the case from the back panel. And then also you can see here how the power supply runs. Now the one thing I'm a little iffy about is I wish there was a fan blowing air from here across my hard drives. I have two 2.5 or 2 full-size hard drives right here, and I'll show you the port and how to get them out. But they're kind of stagnant with heat, which is, you know, I'm not sure about the modern hard drive and thermal capabilities, but I wish there was a little bit more cooling down here, but I think that's a standard for most cases, that this area is kind of a little stagnant when it comes to heat, and it shouldn't affect performance. I'm hoping it doesn't affect performance, because if it does, that's kind of a bummer, because you can't really put a fan anywhere here that would make a big difference. Let's see if there's anything else I missed. So, yeah, no, that's about it. Yeah, very clean. And then this is an EVGA power supply. Everybody knows that that's the company to get a power supply from. The power supply that's in here is 450 watts, maybe even overkill for my current solution, but I wanted some headroom for upgradability in the future. So let's go to the front. You know, actually, I don't remember how to take this front panel off. Let's see if I can figure it out on camera. Oh, yeah, I did figure it out on camera. See, that's the mark of a good case. You don't have to look it up. You don't have to, and it comes apart and it won't fall off. Like, I transported this from my parents' house to my apartment, and I did not even worry about the panels falling off or the case being damaged in transport, because it's just that sturdy. Quickly, this panel is the panel I wanted to show you that has filters. So there's a filter down here, it's removable, and the filter up here is removable. I don't know why they didn't just put this filter at an angle like they did this one, but this one just crossed, but they're gonna have a little bit extra filtration. You know, these haven't picked up even a little bit of dust, but I'm glad that I have that protection. And this is a solid piece again. It's not gonna have, you're not gonna dent this. You're simply not gonna dent this ever. Your case is gonna look pristine. So, front panel, pretty standard, I think. 2.5s, they're right here. They slide out pretty easily. That means that you have to run the cables before you put the drives in, but I mean, that wasn't a shocker to you guys, right? This one's kind of hung up on something, but regardless, this is pretty sweet access, especially if you're going to be hot swapping hard drives, that you want that easy access. You pop the panel off, you throw the hard drive in, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about opening either side panels. And then, like I said, I wish there was a fan right here in front, or like, I wish there was a fan on the right here blowing air through this panel across over my hard drives to make the airflow, like, just, it would make more sense. I don't know why they didn't put a fan right here. Now, that being said, I don't think heat is an issue in this case. I think it dissipates heat very well. Worry. 120 millimeter right here, 120 millimeter right here, one up here, one back here. Like, this case is going to be premium for cooling. This is the cooling case. If you've got a hot CPU and you don't want to overbuild your computer in terms of case will cool the shit out of your computer, and it looks fantastic. So no reason to jump up to a different case. Honestly, like, man, they're probably hurting some of their business by making such premium cases at this price, because this is their entry price point, and this is not an entry case. I can tell you that much. So let's take off this glass panel here. I know you guys are waiting for that. Looking at the design and these rubber mounts where the glass holds up to, I can see why they didn't go with screws that stay in the panel. Regular thumb screws are sufficient. So this is the inside of the case. This is pretty standard. Any notes that I would make on the inside of this case, this bottom panel is pretty sturdy. This is pretty sturdy, and you're gonna have a lot of space to expand. I'm trying to show you how much space you have for a a fan cooler. So the width of my hand when I expand it is about 9.5, 10 inches. So you can see how much space you have here. You have maybe, let's see, about, yeah, solid. You have solid airspace in this area. You're not going to have any constraints when coming to a cooler unless you go outrageous. And even if you go outrageous, like, you could kind of see the depth here. Let's see, yeah, you can see the depth that I have a whole entire fist that I can, maybe I'll cut that. Okay, so outside of that, any closing statements? Lighting's pretty key. So this top button will light up, and it's changing into RGB LED, and it changes with this top button here, like I showed you earlier. So that's this one light on top, and then there's a thin strip of LEDs that run for about 4 inches here, and you can see in my previous video. Maybe I'll upload another video of this running. You can see how it looks in the daylight. But it's pretty bright, and that's kind of why I have the glass panel against that wall here, because when I'm watching a TV show, actually, you know what? I take that back. It's not very bright, because like if I'm watching, say I'm sitting on the couch and doing Netflix and chill, and we're just watching a movie in the dark, this LED light is not going to distract you at all. It doesn't reflect any off of any surfaces in my house. I barely can tell that there is a light on there, which is perfect for me. That being said, I love that this case has the expandability where if I wanted to go 4 LED fans and something crazy like an LED strip on this left-hand side, no big deal. I could totally do that. You know what? There's a video on Linus Tech Tips where they put like crystals. They glue crystals into the case and along here in the bottom. Now, I don't know if I do it to this case like right away, because I'm kind of in love with this case and I don't want to wreck the clean lines, but there's a ton of space. I'm not going to go water cooling probably ever. So, I don't know. I could probably do something fun here and maybe eventually display it like it is a little bit more classy compared to your typical gamer PC. Okay, so wrapping up. Super sturdy, great value, good cable management system, super expandable for RGB and fans. It comes with a 120 millimeter fan, which I'm not using. This computer runs between 40 and 60 degrees Celsius. I haven't seen it like hit 70 ever. It's an i7 3770 with 12 gigs of RAM now, and a GTX 1050. It's kind of, I know I'm nitpicking and this video is too long already. So that's about it. I've kind of dissected this case for you. And like, comment, subscribe, have a good day, eat a good meal, and do a good deed. I guess that works. All right, take care. Bye.